Hi, Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
Bob Kaczynski.
Nice to meet you.
My wife, Liz.
Hello, Dennis. We've been expecting you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Come on in. Did you have a good trip?
Yeah, it was nice. It's good to get out of the city.
It's all right here. A rancher from Montana originally discovered this, but I want the proof for myself. Yes. If it takes 3/4 of the states to ratify an amendment, it could have passed with at most 12 states opposing.
Right.
Now, the feds admitted in writing that 6 states did not ratify. So, if we could find 7 others, we'd have it. Here it is, absolute proof that the 16th Amendment was never ratified.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. Declaring it ratified was out-and-out fraud by the then Secretary of State Knox, a man who was sworn to obey and uphold the Constitution. The moment I realized this, it changed my life forever. I filed petitions with all the members of Congress. I've sent notices of fraud and deception to all the governors of all 50 states.
What happened?
Some opposition from the feds, primarily the IRS. That's about it. Much of the problem relates to the Federal Reserve System. Do you know how it works?
Not really.
Let me spell it out. First of all, the Federal Reserve is no more federal than federated stores. It is a group of private banks and bankers who run their business for profit. The system was conceived by these bankers and politicians who met secretly to create the Federal Reserve Act. This act was designed to allow Congress to spend money it didn't have.
How's that?
Well, Congress now has the power to create debt. In other words, spend money it hasn't collected.
You mean the national debt?
That's right. It does this by printing ink on paper and calling them bonds or treasury bills. Well, some of these T-bills are purchased by people like you and me. But the deficit spending has become so large that we, the people, don't have enough money to purchase the bonds. So Congress strolls over to the Federal Reserve Bank and says, "Will you take these bonds?" Federal Reserve says, "Sure, we'll take them. 9% interest."
Take it or leave it.
That's right. Congress has no option.
Well, where do they get the money?
They literally create credit out of thin air. The IRS was created as the collection agency for the Federal Reserve banks. Congress has become so hooked on this relationship that they have been spending money as fast as they could print it ever since.
Well, where does it end? When the country's bankrupt?
Sounds crazy, but research indicates that the U went over by the 5. At that time, Federal Reserve banks forced the transfer of the U.S. Treasury gold reserves to those banks.
Private banks.
That's right. In order to secure this debt, Congress put a lien on all the earnings of the American people and generations to come. What they did was unconstitutional. By participating in this process, you're calling yourself a non-resident alien. You are neither a resident of the U.S. or the federal zone, and you are an alien if you were born outside of this zone. Thus, non-resident alien.
Yeah, what about zip codes and social security numbers?
Well, if you participate in the Social Security system, you're declaring yourself voluntarily a taxpayer.
Okay.
Same is true with state abbreviations and zip codes. In fact, the IRS has taken zip codes as IRS districts, a device by which they keep you within their jurisdiction.
So, on your mail, there's no zip code or state abbreviation?
That's right.
Do they deliver it?
Sometimes. The Postal Service by law is not allowed to discriminate against the absence of a zip code. All this maneuvering is no silver bullet to the avoiding of payment of taxes. It requires knowledge to understand the reasons behind the actions.
Silver bullet. I've heard that before.
You're sure you won't stay over?
No, I can't, really. Thanks anyway.
Well, perhaps it is we who should be thanking you.
No, I don't think so.
Well, in any event, these are copies of my notes. Any time that I can be of any help to you whatsoever, please call. You have a good trip and good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Goodbye, Dennis, and good luck.
Thank you.
I think you should read this, otherwise I wouldn't bother you with it.
What is it?
It's a letter to the district director from Dennis Smith. He's advising us that he's now a non-resident alien of the United States, having never lived, worked, or drawn income from D.C. or its territories.
Well, go on. What else?
Well, which derive their jurisdiction from Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Therefore, he is out of the jurisdiction of Section 26 of the United States Codes, which gives us 30 days to produce documentation to prove otherwise. Then he says, failure to respond will be taken as acquiescence, and from this date forward, he will conduct his life accordingly. He wants a letter stating that he's no longer required to file a tax return.
It's that bloody lawyer.
Why don't we just give him the documentation he wants?
Why? Because he's right. We don't have jurisdiction.
What? Where?
Get out.
That's it. An hour and a half of screen time. I'll have a budget for you in a few days.
Okay.
What was that?
Down! Get down! Down! Get down on the floor, face down! Right now!
Get your hands up!
Get away! Make another move, and I will shoot you! I said get him out of here! Yes, sir. Come on, Billy.
Ladies.
Billy, get him out of here! Yes, sir.
I'm an attorney. You better have a real good reason for being here. Where's your warrant?
We have reason to believe drugs are being sold here.
You're making a mistake.
Mr. Smith.
What's he doing here?
He's the reason for the warrant. The Treasury Department believes you're dealing in drugs, Mr. Smith.
Well, what do we have here? And what is this? What do you intend to do with this?
I intend to keep people like you from trashing lives.
And you call yourself an American? You want to bring down the entire system of government?
No, that wouldn't serve our purpose. It's you we're after.
Without us, this country would be in the toilet.
No, you're wrong. This country was designed to keep nuts like you away from power. You're gonna be accountable.